What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, my name is Andrew Jolly. I love talking about movies, and today I wanted to talk about the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Alright, so I've been waiting for this movie for about 8 years now, ever since it was announced. I remember playing all of the games. I grew up playing all of the games. I specifically remember for Christmas, after the second game came out, my parents getting me an iTunes gift card so I could buy the game and play it. So I've been a fan of the franchise and the games and the lore for about 9 years. I think that's how long they've been around. And I've been waiting for this movie for a while. And as a fan of the games and the franchise, I thought that the movie was pretty good. I had a really good time with it. I was very worried going into the movie. I've seen lots of video game adaptations be very bad. So I was really hoping that the FNAF movie would be different. Now, this is a movie that you can tell was specifically made for the fans. If you're a fan of the games and the lore, then you will have a good time with the movie. And even if you're just a casual watcher and you just want to watch the movie for fun, you'll still have a good time with it. I went to the movie with one of my friends that doesn't really know much about the games or have any interest in the lore or anything, and he had a really good time with it, actually. Now, with all that being said, if you're looking for a movie that's going to be scary and scare you, then this isn't really the movie that you'll want to watch. The movie isn't really that scary, which I was a little disappointed by, but with it being just a PG-13 Blumhouse movie, I wasn't really expecting it to be like over the top scary or anything. There are a few jump scares in the movie that landed, I feel like, for some of the people in the theater that I was with, but they didn't really land with me very well. There was one scene that I remember specifically that I was pretty surprised and I thought it was really cool. But other than that, the movie is very tame when it comes to scares and like the horror elements of the movie. I thought that all the acting in the movie was super great as well, especially Josh Hutcherson was great as Mike, and Matthew Lillard as well is super great in the movie. I feel like those are the two main standouts, even though Matthew Lillard doesn't really have much screen time, which I was pretty disappointed with. I'm a big fan of Scream, so I was really hoping to see some like Stu Macher type stuff in the film, but he was only in there for a few minutes. But those few minutes that he was in the movie, I thought that it was really good, and those were probably my favorite parts of the movie. Now, the sound design in the movie is also really great. I thought for a PG-13 horror movie, it kind of relies a lot on the sound design to kind of make the movie feel a little bit more intense, especially with most of the kills happening off screen. So you kind of have to rely on that sound design to kind of hear the grossness of the kill, kind of like the bones breaking and all that stuff. And the sound design was super great, especially with the animatronics walking around. I thought it was all super great. There are some aspects of the movie that I think would have benefited from an R rating instead of it being a PG-13 movie. There was actually a lot more gore than I was expecting from the movie. I feel like it was kind of pushing the boundaries of that limit for a PG-13 movie. But overall, I think if they would have committed to an R rating and made it more intense that way, then it would have worked a little bit better. I think it would have been more scary and it would have been a little bit more enjoyable for kind of the older fans of the franchise. But with it being PG-13, it is great as kind of like an entry to horror level film for kids. If they're wanting to get into watching horror movies, it could be a great film for them to start on. Now, the movie is also streaming on Peacock right now, which could be a good way to view it as well, especially if you're wanting to just go check it out and see what the hype is about. However, if you are a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, then I would definitely recommend going and checking it out in theaters. It's just really cool to be able to watch it with other fans of the games and kind of see little Easter eggs, and you can kind of like cheer and go along when there's cool like cameos and everything throughout the movie. So it's really up to you. I really enjoyed watching it in the theaters. There were a few fans behind me that were kind of annoying and they were just screaming a lot, which was not ideal. I'll probably have to rewatch it, but I've got no complaints there. Overall, I had a really good time with the movie, especially as a fan of the franchise. I had a really great time. I'll give Five Nights at Freddy's a 7.5 out of 10. All right, so Five Nights at Freddy's, have you guys seen it? If so, what did you think about it? I'd love to hear your comments below.